Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into event management today, and we're doing it by looking closely at one company's profile.
Right.
Our source is this PDF. It's a company profile for CCE, which, well, turns out to be Communicraft.
Exactly. And the idea here is really to, you know, mine this document, pull out the important stuff, what they can do, how big they are, what proof they offer, really get a handle on what this company is about.
Yeah, and understanding a company like this is honestly super useful. Maybe you're looking for event services yourself, or you're just like curious about how these big events actually happen, or maybe you just find the logistics fascinating. There's a lot here. So we've got the profile ready. Let's get started.
Okay, basics first. The document says Communicraft kicked off in 2001.
2001. So yeah, not a newcomer. They've been around.
Right. They say it themselves, 22 years in the market. But the numbers they give, that's what caught my eye. Over 150 clients. And get this, over 2,100 events globally.
Wow, 2,100 events? That's a lot.
Right.
What does that scale, actually tell us?
Well, doing that many events over 2 decades, it suggests they're constantly busy. It points to, like, a really well-established process. They must be able to juggle quite a few things at once or just turn projects around quickly. It's not just being old. It's about serious operational muscle.
Then they list out their specialties.
Yeah.
MICs, their meetings, incentives, conferences, exhibitions. That's pretty standard.
Sure.
But they also specifically call out things like team building, product launches, awards, branding. Some of those get mentioned like multiple times.
Yeah, repeating things like team building or product launches, it feels like they're signaling, hey, we're really good at this. Or maybe it's just a huge part of their business. It kind of shapes how you see them, beyond just a generic event company.
Okay, digging into their main overview section. They repeat the experience, the 20-plus years, the 2,000-plus events, 150-plus clients worldwide. But then they talk about the why. How do they say they actually help clients?
Ah, yeah, this is key. They link events to actual business results. Things like boosting sales, keeping customers loyal, building brand awareness, helping people understand products better.
Right.
So they're not just selling, tables and chairs. They're selling events as a strategic tool.
And they drop some names to back that up. DHL, Reckitt, NIA, listed as long-term, happy clients. Seeing big names like that definitely helps their case.
For sure. Credibility. And their whole model, they call it end-to-end event solutions for corporate clients, but also private ones. That's a big claim, managing everything from the first idea to the actual event.
That end-to-end thing is interesting. What do they say are their core strengths that let them do that?
They list 3 main ones: concept designs, audiovisual production, and PR and entertainment.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, concept design is where it all starts. The vision, AV is huge these days, the tech backbone, and PR and entertainment. That's about making noise, creating buzz, making sure people have a good time.
And then there's this wide range of event services list. It gives you a flavor of the actual types of events. You see the usual corporate stuff again, gala dinners, incentive groups, team building, exhibitions, product launches. But interestingly, they also explicitly list weddings.
Oh, yeah, weddings.
Yeah.
That definitely stands out. Shows they're not only playing in the corporate sandbox.
So how do they say they actually do all this? They talk about their process.
They do. They lay out this methodology. It starts, interestingly, with your concept emphasis, theirs. Then they layer in data and feedback and brand mapping.
So they're not just order takers. They're saying they take your idea and then refine it using data and making sure it fits the brand.
Exactly. It positions them more as strategic partners. From there, it flows into design and production, then management and execution, and finally you get your event. It's presented as a clear path.
Okay, now this next part, the list of specific event deliverables, it's long, really detailed. Maybe we don't need to read every single item, but what does just the sheer length and detail of this list tell you?
It tells me they're aiming to cover literally everything. Either they have massive in-house teams for all this, or a really solid network of suppliers they trust completely.
Right.
I mean, look at the categories. People, hosts, drivers, managers, the physical stuff, venue, decor, furniture, setup, all the tech, AV, virtual events, photos, video, design work, the guest experience, food, drinks, gifts, and then all the marketing bits, printing, branding, ads, awards.
Yeah.
The fact that they even thought to list all this stuff down to badges and valet services, it really backs up that end-to-end idea.
It's like they're saying, think of anything, literally anything you might need for an event, And yeah, we handle that.
Pretty much. And they even have another section called core services that,
Uh-huh.
well, it echoes some of this, but adds a few interesting points. You see AV production, on-site management, setup again,
Uh-huh.
but also concept, styling, and theme show up again. And then things like identifying the target audience and locations to reach them, and feedback and analysis.
Okay, those last ones, identifying the audience, the feedback loop, that feels more strategic, doesn't it? More than just running the event smoothly.
Absolutely. That's the consulting angle shining through, helping clients figure out who to talk to and where, not just setting up the room. Then you've got PR management, entertainment, giveaways, collateral design. It covers the functional and the flashy bits.
The profile also mentions their reach: India, UK, UAE, Australia.
Yep, which fits with the global events claim. It suggests they can operate or coordinate internationally. And they mention partners too, together for 10 years and more partners, plus more partners, hints at a network.
Okay, let's get to the proof points. The few of our past events section. This is where the rubber meets the road, right?
hmm
Looking through these examples, what jumps out?
Well, the variety is definitely there. Different clients, different types of events. But what's really interesting is how the scope changes, even for the same type of event. Like, look at conferences. For Zaid University and HSDC, it says end-to-end, full service. But for, say, Thai Dubai or Sharaf Tours, the scope listed is just AV design, setup, and management.
Ah, okay. So they can do the whole show,
Mm.
or they can just bring in their specific expertise, like the technical side, if that's all that's needed. Flexibility.
Exactly. And you see big clients popping up again and again. Reckitt Benckiser, DHL, they appear for awards, team building, galas. That suggests repeat business, which is always a good sign.
And the types of events really cover the spectrum. Conferences, awards, team building. There's a product launch for Blue Air, exhibitions for various clients at big trade shows like Arab Health and Gulf Food, often focusing on design and build for those.
And then galas are listed separately and weddings are there again. So high-profile social events too. Plus, they list virtual events for DHL, Terumo, Abbott, GSK, showing they've pivoted to digital, again with different levels of involvement.
So yeah, from huge corporate gigs and fancy galas to building exhibition stands and even doing weddings, both in person and online, for some really big company names, the examples definitely seem to support the claims they make earlier.
It all seems to tie back to this core philosophy they state quite clearly. We believe no request is unusual. They actually say it twice in the document.
That's quite a motto for an events company. Things can get pretty unusual pretty fast in this business, I imagine.
Right. But it fits perfectly with that massive list of deliverables and the end-to-end promise. If you truly believe no request is out of the ordinary, you're basically saying, bring it on, we'll figure it out. It frames them as ultimate problem solvers.
So wrapping this up, what's the big picture takeaway from looking through this Communicraft profile?
I think it's a company with real history. 22 years is significant. They've got proven scale, that 2,100 plus event number, the big client names. They offer a genuinely broad range of services covering strategy, all the hands-on execution bits, and even the follow-up. Their key strengths seem to be in the creative concepts, the technical AV side, and engaging the audience through PR and entertainment. And that philosophy, no request is unusual, that feels like the glue holding their comprehensive offer together.
It definitely paints a much clearer picture than just reading a short blurb on a website. You see the mechanics, the proof.
Yeah, it's a detailed operational snapshot.
Okay, so here's something for you to chew on as we finish. We've seen just how many tiny details go into a single event: the people, the place, the tech, the food, branding, everything. When a company promises end-to-end service across so many different types of events and places, what do you think is maybe the single hardest part for them to nail consistently? And how does that belief, no request is unusual, potentially help or maybe even hinder them when things inevitably get really complex or go sideways? Something to think about.